What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Scrubs Allowed podcast. We took a week off, but for good reason. We have a big shout out to give. We also have, if you're watching on YouTube, Seal in a different uh, looking studio over here. So we've got a lot that's been going
America.
on. It's not even necessarily great for the podcast, but we got a lot going on. But you know what? Before we get into anything, let's start out with the shout out because the shout out is huge. Shout out to your boy, Cooper Daryl
Yeah.
Seal, 9 years old. And shout out to our hometown, man. We talk a lot of shit on that town, but why don't you go into the shout out and really give it a go?
Yeah, man. So the reason we was missed last week is I ended up going up to Palatka where we grew up, and somehow my son found his way to grow up there as well a couple years before I found my way there. But anyways, he's there. He's only been there for about 6, 7 months now, so he has a couple friends at school. His mom and her other half don't really have any friends in the community that much, and either way, I wanted it to be something for me and for my family. And we know I don't really have much family left in Putnam County. So I had a couple cousins come in. My mom came in, and my cousin Amber, who, if you know of Amber Sill, you know there's nothing quiet about her. There's nothing shy about her, and she took it upon herself to message somebody who runs a Facebook account for Putnam County that has over like 100,000 people who follow this account. So she messaged them, and dude, the amazing things that God does. For one, the kid wanted an Xbox. That's all he wanted. Xbox and Pokemon cards. And I looked everywhere, dude. At Walmart's, GameStops, all up and down the coast since we had to come from South Florida to North
Right.
Florida. Nothing. For some reason, a dart hit me in the brain and said, "Look at pawn shops." We called like 15 different pawn shops, and right when we were about to give up hope and say, "Dude, I'll try to order one eventually," like I don't know what to do, on the 15th one they're like, "We have a digital one with no controllers." I was like, "Dude, I
Mm.
got controllers at the house, I'm on the way." They're like, "It's $210." So I was like, "I don't give a damn, charge me $310. I'm on the way." Like, I'm not going to try to finagle the price. I'm on the way. If it works, I'm getting it. And for that to happen, and then for the message from Amber to go through to this profile, they get over 1 million inquiries a week, he said, via email, Facebook, Instagram, over 1 million. And most of them go through the email account and nothing comes up through their phones. And this one happened to come up on her phone as she was scrolling through a news feed, like an article on the internet, and it popped up through her banner thing on her phone. And she clicked on the message, saw it. They made a post around 3:30, and it was supposed to start at 4. And before I was even able to leave from helping set stuff up to go pick Cooper up and his sister Alice up, there were people starting to show up. The Bostwick Gas Supply Company, one of their drivers showed up so he could hop in the 18-wheeler and toot the horn. He had stuff to do, and he was like, "Man, how long are you?" I was like, "I can go get him now. I'll be back in 15 minutes." And by the time I got back, there was a cop that pulled in front of me, and he wanted to let Cooper in so he could flip the switches and talk on the siren. And there was a video that I shared on my Facebook. About 30 minutes after that, the sheriff's department and the police department, the city department, came together and brought him some presents, and brought the one of their training dogs, their therapy dogs. And they just really showed up. After that, the fire department showed up, which is a voluntary fire department. So for these people to take out of their free time to go and do all that for him, it was amazing. Over 100 plus people showed up to drop off gifts and or just wish happy birthdays. The Advanced Auto Parts and Palatka donated a limited edition Gas Monkey hat, which is something that
Nice.
Cooper really likes. He likes that Gas Monkey show and stuff that has to do with gearhead stuff. And Papa John's, when they saw it, they called the guy who runs the page and said, "Hey, we're gonna make him a pizza and a chocolate chip cookie little pizza
Hmm.
thing for him." And they donated a pizza. It was crazy, dude. Like crazy. Every time I think about it, it just get chills. I get emotional. Just like I've always thought of that town as a piece of shit. I've always, my biggest advice to anybody growing up in that town is to get a 3.0 and get the fuck out.
Yep.
That's
For
If
sure.
you get a 3.0, you can do anything you want in this world, because a lot of people are running out with 1.9s and
Yeah.
going to community college to try to get that degree. So in today's age, get a 3.0 and you're pretty fucking golden. And I'm gonna do my best, if you're my kid, to get your ass into college and be able to help you pay for that. But get a 3.0, get the fuck out of that town. But for the people who are all in that town and still maintain that town and come together as a community, it was fucking phenomenal, dude. I couldn't think of anything better. And just for that to happen to Palaka, it still blows my mind, man. I was sitting there, I watched it, I think about it all the time, and still a week later now, it
Yeah.
still blows my mind.
No, it blows my mind too, because that was my goal. My goal was to get out. That was literally the only goal I had in life. I didn't care about being a professional soccer player. I didn't care about getting some cool job, going to some cool college. It was get the fuck out of Palatka. And I did it. I got as far away as I could. LA, baby. Like that was part of the motivation for me moving to California, was just get as far from Palatka as humanly possible. And so it's really cool to see that the people step up like that, because it's good to see. And to be fair, I mean, the people were very close knit even when we grew up.
Yeah.
It's just that it didn't jive with us. But but to
it
see
was
that
cool.
personality is amazing.
A lot of the old heads. This guy, Dean the Watermelon Man, donated a badass bike, dude. This thing was badass. But he's friends of the family. I'd probably met when I was a kid. New dad.
Right.
After that night, it was me, Mom, and Larissa. We went to wind down. So we went to the Cheyenne Saloon, which was near the hotel. And the lady looked really familiar. And I was like, "Did you know Rusty Sills?" She's like, "Very much so, and his brothers." I was like, "I thought I knew you." She's like, "Yep, I used to be up there at the Dean." She was like, you're Brandon?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am." She's like, "I remember you up on that little touch screen playing that game all the time over at the high level." I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And then look over and I see this. I was like, "Hey, is that Trace?" And this guy Trace that grew up on my road. She's like, "No, that's his little brother." I'm like, "What the fuck?" All the same people, man. All the same people we grew up with. And for them to have the hearts they do, I really do just want to take this time to thank them. Once again, I'll thank them a million times for the rest of my life, because that's something he's never going to forget. It's something I'll never forget. I remember being 12 years old and nobody showing up to my birthday party. So for him to thinking he's just going to have him, his sister, and a couple of my cousins there, and for over at least 40, 50 kids show up to have fun and celebrate and wish him happy birthday. And then all the people show up dropping off gifts, money. People were bringing gifts, their toys their kids didn't play with anymore, just anything they could do to make him feel good. It was amazing, and I just really do want to thank Putnam County once again.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember my birthdays too, and it was a whole load of nothing.
Well, I didn't. Dad was pissed. I think it was either 12 or 13. I think it was 12, because I had just moved there and I didn't really know anybody. It was from 6th to 7th grade year, and I was from Jacksonville. I wore my Jinko jeans, and I tried to fit in, so I'd wear my Jinko jeans with the boots Dad bought me for Christmas, and just didn't really mesh well with the kids. So I didn't give out any of my birthday invites to any of the kids. So when it came to my birthday, nobody showed up, and my dad, so he just rode my ass that whole time and made fun of me for being a dork and a loser and all this. And it just, I never would have thought that this community would come together to do something like that ever.
Yeah, for sure. So big shout out to them. Like that's huge. But yeah, that's why we were off last week. And for those of you that watch on YouTube, the reason we've been off for the last month or so is because the videos have been posted on my personal account. So if you want to head over to, I think it's just T Kilpatrick or something, they're on there. But starting this podcast, I'll make sure it's on the right one. That was just an oversight by me. Still caught it a couple weeks later. But
yeah, I wanted to show baby girl the end of the last one when I put up her picture after the curse one, and I was like, "Hey, bro, it's not." He's like, "Yeah, it is. It says it's uploaded to me." Yeah, it's on my personal. See, it's uploaded.
Yeah. So also, if you guys have any technical skills and want to work for free, hit us up at noscrubsports@gmail.com. We will be more than happy to accept you and at least get the things posted to the right YouTube. But anyways, let's move on to the sports stuff. Let's move on to the sports shout outs before we get into this amazing basketball season that I was not going to wear my son's jersey 3 weeks in a row, but I just had to.
I want to wear the Trevor Lawrence jersey eventually. I almost did after he showed out today at minicamp, but I almost brought a broom from the house.
But I think my Devin Booker jersey is going to be here before I can stop wearing son's jerseys. That's the hope, at least. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's do a couple of shout outs. First of all, a huge shout out / prayers up to Christian Eriksen. That if you don't like soccer, it happens, but Euro 2020s are now happening. I know it's 21, but it's still Euro 2020s. And Denmark had their first game, and one of their players just was dribbling, kind of passed it off and then just fell over. and ended up having a cardiac arrest. And the team doctors say they lost him for a little bit, had to use the defibrillator thing, the electrical thing, and bring him back to life. So big prayers to him. He's up, he's talking, he's watching the games again from the hospital, really getting involved. But a lot of the people, it was cool to see the whole team. I don't know if you saw, but like the whole team built like a circle around him to not let the cameras in, because it's ridiculous. I mean, we understand media, we're part of media, but it's ridiculous when dude has like a heart attack and the media's goal is just to catch every minute of it. So it was cool to see the Denmark team really rally around and say like, nah, you're not getting in here. This is our boy. And then all the shout outs that have been coming. Your boy Romelu Lukaku, who plays for Belgium, scored a goal and went and shouted like, Christian, I love you, like into the thing, because they're a club team teammates. So it's really cool to see that. But prayers up to him. I'm glad he's happy, or not happy. I'm glad he's healthy and back doing what he's doing. It was very easily he could have died there. So I think Denmark's 0-2, so we're not going to talk about that part of their journey. But shout out to him, and I hope he's doing better and that the team's recovering, because that's a big hit. I don't know if you've ever had a teammate go down, but it sucks. It's hard to keep playing.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's like we pointed out beforehand, like these guys are in top-notch shape, and it seems like it's really happening more so since the COVID thing, and these guys haven't been able to train 24/7 like they do in soccer.
Right.
And in hockey, it's just it's crazy. It's weird to see, and I mean, we've been fortunate. Something like this is normal. I saw a stat in baseball in like 1937. A dude got struck by lightning and died on the field and had to get brought back to life and finished the 9th inning. And just like crazy shit like that. It's not normal for us. And for us seeing stuff like this is becoming a normalcy of being Gator fans, what we saw last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to see this, man. And it's a reminder, a very stark reminder that anything is possible at any given time. And you really have to appreciate the opportunities that you're given, because like we see in Keontae, he wants his damnedest to be out there and he wants to play. But first and foremost, it's your health and it's your ability to go another day. And it doesn't really have to be on the pitch or whatever it may be, your sport.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, and it puts things in perspective, because definitely I'm not ever saying don't be healthy. Be healthy is always the answer. Try your best to be healthy and do what you can. But when you see that even being healthy is not a guarantee, you know, when God calls, it's your time, bro. It's your time regardless. So just live every day, and we might circle back to that at the end, but just live every day like you can. And there's no guarantees in this life, no matter what you try to do to force your hand. But shout outs to him. I'm glad he's healthy. I'm glad he's happy, or maybe healthy. I'm glad he's alive and happy. So we wanted to give that shout out before we moved on. But yeah, let's jump into some real sports that are actually actively happening. The last shout out, I tried to avoid it as much as I can, but we got to shout out Novak Djokovic. He's number one in the world. He's still behind Federer and Nadal in Grand Slam championships, but the French Open goes to Novak Djokovic following two amazing matches. You know, it was weird because the semifinals actually faced off with him and Rafa Nadal. And I made a joke. I might have made it to you. I know I made it to Eddie, but I was like, well, this is the finals. Like, it doesn't really matter. And Nadal came out and fired up, and shout out to Djokovic. He played one of the best games of his life. Really came out and played what I thought was the best game of his life. He said in his post game that it was the best game of his life, but that's just what they always say. And got that win, and I thought it was done. So this is just where the story begins, is why I just breezed through that part. I thought that was done. He beat Rafa Nadal in the semifinals, and I thought that was it. But our boy, not really, but Stefanos Tsitsipas, a Greek man Greek kid, I guess I should say. I think he's like 24, 25 years old. This man has made his first finals ever, and he jumped out on Djokovic. Boy, I mean, he came out firing up 2-0. I was ecstatic because I was like, yes, Djokovic is not going to get his thing. And then a couple of combinations. It was pressure. The kids started making more difficult shots, but it was because of who was on the other side. Obviously, number one in the world, Novak Djokovic, and I have to give him a shout out. He wins another one. He's up to 19 now. I believe Federer and Nadal are both at 20. They might be at 21. But Djokovic is also younger than both of them. But shout out to him.
I believe it's 20.
I think so. But
and the way he was able to do with Federer, man, it was insane. It was insane what he was able to do against Federer.
With Nadal,
that was
against
peak
Nadal.
Federer, is what we're used to seeing on clay.
Against Nadal, not
Nadal,
Federer.
yeah.
Fuck Federer.
Nadal on clay. What he was able to do with his slices. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, it was crazy because Nadal went up 5-0 in the first one.
Yeah, my internet connection is up.
Yeah. Steele's connection sucks. But yeah, Nadal went up 5-0 in the very first set, just fucking running him over. And I was like, oh, it's a wrap. And since then, I mean, Nadal still won the first set, but ever since it was 5-0 in the first set, Djokovic said, nah, I'm good. I got this. And started catching it up. So
yeah, it was really crazy to see, and he's only like 4 or 5 years younger than them cats.
Then Nadal, maybe. I think Federer is even older,
and that he's going to be doing it for a while. It's really crazy.
Fuck him. I hope he doesn't win too many more, but he is, like they said, it's the third person ever to win 2 career Grand Slams, which Nadal has only done once. So my argument for GOAT, has only done it once. I believe Federer is one of the guys that have done it twice, and now Djokovic has done it twice. So he's definitely up there, and that's an argument even more so than the LeBron MJ argument. I know we probably have a lot more basketball fans that watch this than tennis fans. The MJ LeBron argument is fun, but it's 2 different eras. They never played each other. But the Federer Nadal Djokovic argument is literally like live action. Federer started a little earlier. Djokovic is going to end a little later. And all 3 of them have played the majority of their career together. So that's really cool. So the fact that he's able to pull one off on Nadal has now only lost 2 French Open matches, and both of them were to Djokovic. I mean, so Djokovic is making his case for the greatest, and that's only going to continue. Tennis, I mean, we see that Stefanos Tsitsipas, there's Zverev, there's all kinds of great players, but the old head is still there. The best 3 players are still able to do it. And I think that's going to happen for a couple more years, and then we can really have that GOAT conversation.
Well, and Djokovic is going to be around for another 7, 8, 9 years playing at this level. I feel like,
yeah, if he's capable to do what Federer and them does.
Yeah, and he's younger by what? It's got to be like 4 or 5 years, and he's been able to benefit from science coming up more so than they have whenever they're 24, 25, being able to start getting to that development and stuff. And Joker got money very quick in his career, and he's been able to benefit from all the science and spending wise of being able to keep his body healthy.
Yeah. So shout out to him, but hey, he's still 1 behind Federer and Nadal. Hopefully somebody can step up and stop this man, but I think he'll pass him because obviously before French, I think Nadal, as much as I love him, he's my favorite player, but I think his chances that remain are all French Open. He could potentially get 3 more without a doubt, but I think that's his only one that he can still win. He's probably too old for the other ones. Federer can still win Wimbledon, and then the other 2 are Djokovic. So anytime that Djokovic takes Wimbledon or takes the French, that's a big hit to the other 2 guys. So we'll see, but Nadal has to.
Yeah, and now it seems like if Nadal.
You're good.
Yeah, it's crazy. If Nadal gets in the French Open, that was insane to see. But that was his best game, so I don't know. Nadal will definitely be looking forward to the next one.
Nadal's still the best at French. He's the best on the clay. Like that's going to go without a doubt. I mean, he has 19 of his 21 championships or whatever are on clay. Without a doubt, he's the best on clay, and I hope he continues to do it. I don't know what happened. I think Djokovic just found a reserves that was unstoppable, and that's just going to happen sometimes. All
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
So before your internet completely gives out on us, or our computers, or whatever is going on, I'm sure it's hotel internet. I think we told you Sill's at a hotel. I think we forgot to mention that when I said he's got
Yeah, I
new
should have paid
digs.
the $10 for this shit.
I said he's got new digs. That means he's at a hotel. But before we get thrown off by the internet, let's talk a little bit about basketball.
Real quick,
And yeah,
real quick. I
yeah.
do want to shout out. We can both agree that this UFC event was highly anticipated, but very fucking boring.
Mm-hmm.
Very boring. Very fucking boring. But shout out to Brandon Moreno. Viva Mexico.
Yeah, amigo.
First one getting it done. I saw a badass mural and a Tijuana for him that they painted up for him. Shout out to Israel to be able to find a way to come down to a decision with somebody that should have been able to knock his ass out for once. And the guy even told him after the fight, "Hey, I felt like I had it." He's like, "Not today, Martin. You're out." And
It's crazy because
it wasn't even really too much of a decision.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I also want to echo you. Like, shout out to Moreno. He should have probably won their first fight. It was very close. It was one of those you got to beat the champ kind of decisions. So Figueiredo got to keep it. So he came out and dominated this time, which is awesome. But Izzy, though, he doesn't even win by knockout anymore. But like, it doesn't look like Woodley. Like when Woodley was winning by decision. By the way, I'm sure you can still hear me. You froze in like the dumbest looking look. I hope it looked that way whenever people watch on YouTube. But anyways, when Woodley would fight, he would win because he just looked like he was defending the title. Adesanya wins by decision, but it looks like he won the entire fight, and it's not even close. And that's what happened again. He's not trying to knock anyone out. He's trying to hold his title, and we've argued about that before. We've done it on the podcast about whether it's better to keep fighting or just defend your title, and whether that's right or not. Adesanya defends the title, but he defends the title much cleaner. It doesn't look even close. It's not really a decision. When it goes to the decision, it's a clear favorite. And but yeah, the card was still exciting, but it wasn't as exciting as the matchup made it look.
Yeah, it was all of them, man. All of them. The Nate Diaz, he got cut open, he got bloody. That was pretty cool to
That's
see.
normal.
But for the most part, it was a boring night. The prelims, that last one in the prelims was fucking fantastic. But after that, it was just something you would see in people trying to get up in the ranks and get a win on decisions. It just wasn't a fun night for fighting. But we got a long string of fighting coming, boys. We're down to the nitty-gritty. It's coming.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when Sil has internet, just so we can have a real jump into it. Man, we're so cheap. We didn't pay $10. I was a defender of not paying $10 just for what it's worth. But anyways, let's shift into basketball. We'll save the all NBA teams for the end. If we end up dying of internet, we'll talk about it next week. But all four series that are left looked like they were going to be really good. Well, 3 of the 4 have been really good, but let's start off with the Suns because it's the only one that's not going anymore. We swept the Nuggets, and obviously Jamal Murray was injured. We all know that. Michael Porter Jr. didn't quite step up the way he was supposed to. Monte Morris stepped up, but not enough. But I think, and I could be biased because I'm a Suns fan, but I think the real, obviously Chris Paul and Devin Booker are awesome, but the real like award has to go to DeAndre Ayton. The man matched up with Nikola Jokic. He got outplayed by Jokic. That's fine. He was right on par with Jokic. Like those two guys basically canceled each other out, and that's really where it counted to me, at least.
Yeah, Jokic was only able to get off a good 3 or 4 open threes a game on Ayton, and even then he didn't have much separation on him. It's just Ayton's not going to leave his feet, knowing Jokic is really good with a pump fake,
right?
And he's going to be quicker than him coming downhill. But yeah, even in those situations where he would pump fake, right on top of the key, little like in the don't shoot this 2-pointer range area,
right?
He was really good at getting back. Shout out to Miles Bridges on the help defense. Every single time.
Mikal,
Cameron, Mikal, him, Payne, Cam Johnson, all them boys were always there on the help defense, always ready to go with him whenever he had the pump fakes. And that's really what was able to make this team shine and get those stops a lot of the times and be able to come up and get set in their half court offense, which everybody knows they are so fucking lethal in.
Yeah.
And with no Jamal Murray on defense, especially, that was really able to help out CP3 and just go to town and do what he does and don't give up turnovers and just make open shots and create open shots for your teammates.
Yeah, the stats were kind of ridiculous because Paul had one game where he was 15 assists, no turnovers. The closeout game, he was at 37 points, which is just, if you ever watched Chris Paul, is pretty impressive. Booker was doing the same thing Booker always does, which is awesome. And I did shout out Ayton, which is I think fair. He was our number one, just like the reason the series went into a full sweep. I think we would have won it either way. But Mikal Bridges, you brought him up. This man's defense, we've said how good he is on defense. We know that we brought him in. We drafted him out of Villanova because of defense. And he plays amazing defense, gets a couple blocks a game, but he is hitting those corner threes. And you have to leave him open because you have Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton, and even Jay Crowder on the other side. He's hitting these, and he wasn't hitting these 3-4 years ago. So this is the type of guy that when he's hitting these corner threes, when Jay Crowder is hitting threes with hands in his faces, I don't want to jinx anything, but I don't know what Jay Crowder's doing. When he's doing things like that. Yeah. We're unstoppable. We're the best team when those two guys are going on.
Yeah, and he was okay, we'll give you him too with the Isaiah Thomas trade. We didn't want him. He sucked. And ever since he's been there, he's found out a way to just fucking dagger and be in everybody's faces. Yeah. It's ridiculous to see. We could have had a chance in 18, but him being sorry as shit and JR being stoned on the fucking rebound of the free throw.
Yep.
By golly. But yeah, no, shout out to him being on the Suns and really, really helping that team out. You can definitely guarantee that Jay Crowder is going to get a smooth 16, 17 a game. And out of like 25, 30 minutes.
And they're clutch ones too. He's hitting daggers on people.
Yeah. Campaign. It's like this team has no heartbeat. They don't have a soul right now. They're just in it. Monty Williams has them going crazy. And he's showing CP3. He's like, this is what I tried to give to you 15 years ago in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So like he's like, let's do this. Let's get this chip. And there's no better city that deserves it than Phoenix, who has just always been there ready to get it. But now it seems like with Utah having their woes over there, like it's a nice little path to get to Boston, maybe even Milwaukee, maybe even Philadelphia.
You say Boston?
Maybe. Yeah, I did say Boston, but I meant Brooklyn. But maybe even Atlanta, the way shit's going. Like the East is pretty wide open right now, more so than we thought it would. I mean, shout out to KD showing us to not put any disrespect on his name,
which still does a lot.
Oh, I fucking hate that guy. He's a fucking sellout. But he really did show that he still can get it done by himself, but he doesn't want to because he's a little bitch. But he played every minute of the game. Their last game to go up 3-2 against Milwaukee. But this series is wide open. The Atlanta series with Philly's wide open. And it really is anybody's in the East. And it does seem like it's inevitably going to come down to the Suns and whoever the fuck can come out of the East.
I hope so. So you mentioned KD, but let's hold off on him for a minute. The people that have watched tonight, which was Tuesday, already know about him. But let's stay in the West for a second. Utah looked amazing in Utah. They did their thing. Donovan Mitchell took over. The Clippers, as usual, found their groove, found their thing. And I'm not trying to hate anything on the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell is amazing. Quinn Snyder's amazing. Rudy Gobert is Defensive Player of the Year every single year. Oh, what's up?
Did Donovan Mitchell get snubbed of not being on any All-NBA team?
We're going to talk about that at the end.
All right.
But no, because he got injured. But anyways.
So did Kyrie!
Fuck Kyrie. Well, Kyrie got fucking gifted is what Kyrie got. But anyways. Donovan Mitchell's awesome. Quinn Snyder's awesome. Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, he's awesome. Everything on the Clippers is better. Their coach is better. Well, maybe. You probably think their coach is better because he's got you a ring, but their coach is probably better than Quinn Snyder. their best player is better. And if they are playing proper defense, Paul George sometimes sucks. If they're playing awesome defense, they're obviously better than the Utah on defense, even with Rudy Gobert. So now this thing is 2-2. It could go anywhere. I mean, you have Mitchell and Kawhi could go off at any time. It's really on Paul George, I think, right? Like if he plays well, they prove that they're going to win. If he plays like Pandemic P, then he's not going to do anything. So what do you have here? Because I think the Clippers are better than they were last year, but it all falls onto Paul George, and it sucks because he's not worthy of that mantle, but he still gets it.
Yeah, it really does. And Donovan Mitchell's been able to come out and show that he's able to play even when he's not at 100%, which really puts a lot of pressure on Pressure P. And he definitely doesn't cook under pressure. He folds. He's a beef brisket.
Game he was straight, though. Game 4, he went off.
Finally, it took him all. He literally was one of the fastest people to ever to get like one of the most playoff games under 33% shooting field goal wise. And he still has a good 7-8 years left to playoff basketball to really fuck himself over on that one.
Right.
But and even just the Clippers in general, what Utah has in Clarkson and Ingles and Bogdan, the Clippers don't really have. They have Reggie Jackson and Zubac and who the fuck else?
Rondo.
Yeah, like they don't really have the other players.
Don't they have one of the Morrises, or do they not have Morris? Mm-hmm. They have one of them, I think.
Yeah,
they have the bad Morris though, don't they? Oh, they have the good Morris.
Yeah, they have Markieff.
Oh, that's the good Morris at least. Yeah, I got something going for him.
Or maybe the Lakers still. I don't remember, but fuck them either way. But but no. So no, the Clippers, they just don't have it, and I don't think Quinn Snyder's a bad coach. I just think he doesn't have the players that he needs for his system. So he really just lets them boys go to work, and Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson, and they don't really have too many sets. They don't really have too many plays other than like 3 passes and shoot the ball kind of shit. You don't see them hold the ball. That's where Monty Williams comes into play with CP3, what they're able to do and slow down the pace and really work in their offense and stuff like that. And that's why I see no matter who comes out of this, it's for me, maybe a 5-6 game series, but it's going to be an easy run for the Suns because both sides, they're not really coaching these guys the way Monty Williams is. And there's not really the adjustments. We've seen Ty Lue isn't as like Kawhi went there for a fucking reason and got Ty Lue for a reason because he was like, dude, why do you think I got rid of Dwayne Casey? I don't need a coach here. I just need somebody to get the players that I want.
I think Lue's fine. Lue's a great coach, or maybe not great.
He's a great players coach. He's a great players coach. He yells. He pulls down his mask and yells enough to where it looks like he's doing the job.
No, so to look at the Jazz, though, I don't want to throw any shade on the Jazz. They got the number 1 seed. They're doing their thing. They have should have been all NBA kind of talent. But what I'm seeing from the Jazz, I hope this comes out as respectfully as possible, is as a Suns fan, exactly what I was seeing a few years back with the Suns. Now, we didn't win the number 1 seed. I get that. But Donovan Mitchell should not be the man with the ball. That's what we had with Devin Booker. When Devin Booker was coming up with the ball, we were winning games. He was putting up points, but we couldn't get over that hump. That's what I'm seeing with Donovan Mitchell. He's putting up points. They're winning some games. I don't know if they're going to get over the hump. They need a point guard. We've seen it now, like you said, when Monty Williams came in, Chris Paul came in, we're able to see what getting Devin Booker off the ball can do. And Quinn Snyder, I think, is there. They don't need a Monty Williams. They don't need to get a new coach. They need to get a ball handler that can handle and really take care. And I love Mike Conley. I really do. But they need to get someone that can get in there and really take over the ball, because when it comes in the fourth quarter, who's bringing up the ball? Donovan Mitchell. That's what we were doing with Devin Booker, and it doesn't work. You got to get your scorers off the ball. Kobe didn't bring up the ball unless he was just pissed at his teammates. You got to get your scorers off the ball to start and then let them get the ball and do their thing. And I think in a couple of years, they'll find a point guard and they'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Kobe's chips, Derek Fisher's in there a lot.
Yeah.
Guys like that. Even, what was that motherfucker's name?
Shannon Brown?
No, the old Cavs dude. Delonte West. He even contributed a lot to the Lakers. being able to come off the bench and help out, keeping Kobe off the ball coming up, and that's what CP3 is able to do. And yeah, man, that team would be scary if they were able to find somebody else. That would if they were able to keep that base and find somebody. I don't know who coming out of this draft would be, because that boy out of Oregon State isn't. He's tall as shit.
He's too
Um,
big to be that guy.
yeah, I don't know who it would be coming out of the draft, and there's not really too many people in the league that are going to be looking for new jobs that fit that mold. They thought Mike Conley would do that, but he's still too trigger happy. He still wants to be a part of the offense, and it's just you don't need that. You need a smooth 15, 16 like Chris Paul does. You need to have at least 12, 15 assists in playoff basketball and be able to control the pace of the game. And Utah would be insane if they had Chris Paul right now. They'd be
Oh
the
yeah,
odds and
it'd be
favorites.
done. They wouldn't even be
Yeah,
close.
they would sweep Brooklyn. Thanks for fucking wasting a whole bunch of money.
Right.
It would be insane right now. So yeah, if
Yeah.
that team was able to get that, God forbid the teams who really want to be able to come out of the West, because you're not going to be able to do that for a good 3 or 4 years. So let's hope they don't find that piece. But yeah, I thought about that too, and I'm happy you mentioned it, even though you hate the Jazz and don't want to help them out.
I
And
don't
if
hate the
team-
Jazz. I just hate them this year because I hope the Suns win.
if the organization was to see this, they'd be like, damn, they got a point. So
Yeah. All right, so let's talk real quick about the thing. It's 2-2, the series. It's 2-2. We got 2 games in Utah, probably 2 games in Utah because I think it's going 7. But what do you think happens out of this?
It's going to be Utah. Paul George is going to. I mean, Kawhi's a beast.
This
dude.
man is cold, dude.
Kawhi is a
he's
beast. So
real.
you really can't count him out. But I just think Utah as a team, they have more. They have more from top to bottom. They just have it. Reggie Jackson isn't going to keep doing what Reggie Jackson thought he could do 10 years ago. I don't understand.
He has one game every couple of
Bro,
like
I don't
every
get
5
science.
games.
Like, this guy was out of the league. I don't understand science, dude. I don't fucking get it. I hope this hyper ice shit that Chris Paul was wearing and all these pros wear really helps me.
Makes you get back on the court.
Dude,
run.
yeah, bro. I'd be so amazed by that. I'll have to get a cryogenic chamber or whatever the
Cryogenic.
fuck.
Yeah.
That thing and all that stuff, and really just start dumping all my money into that shit, because holy hell, what these guys are able to do in their 30s is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's nuts. Well,
But
so you
with
think
Bogdan
6?
and Ingles, yeah, it's a wrap. I mean, it might go 7. It might go 7, but the Jazz are going to be the ones to go through.
Well, I think it goes 7, and I hope to God it's the Jazz because we beat the Jazz 3 times already this season, and we're ready for the Jazz. We can beat the Jazz. I love Donovan Mitchell. I really like to watch him. He's a great player. He does his thing, but I'm not scared of Donovan Mitchell. I'm scared of Kawhi Leonard. If Paul George does anything,
who the
then
fuck
Kawhi's
is going to
gonna-
guard Kawhi?
you can't. You literally can't. We'll talk
Mikal
about Kevin
is gonna
Durant in a
get
second, but
bodied. He's going to get absolutely bodied.
yeah.
Bodied.
And Jay Crowder would just get walked around or shot over or whatever the fuck Kawhi wants to do.
Jay Crowder has a heads up on KD because they know each other. They have a little bit of
Yeah.
history together, and he's a complete pest. He loves to touch KD's elbows.
Yeah.
That's a whole different story. But Kawhi,
But I'm saying if
There's no
Kawhi
recipe
gets
for
covered
Kawhi.
by Crowder, it's not going to be touched. If he gets covered by Bridges, he's not going to be touched. So, like, I'm scared of Kawhi, and all respect to Donovan Mitchell, I'm not scared of Donovan Mitchell. We're able to defend him, or even if we don't want to defend him and let him score 40 while we defend everybody else, that's a strategy you can take. It's harder to take that with Kawhi, just knowing that Paul George is on the other side. It's possible that he could hit a shot every now and then.
do you think the best tactic if the Suns did play the Clippers would be to pull the Chris Milton tactic and let them know they have 6 fouls, slap their ass, and tell them to get out there?
Who do we have though that's going to do that?
Saric, just let him get wrapped up.
How sad is it that Saric is becoming a 6 foul guy? At the beginning of the season, he was.
Hey, we're not in
him.
Philly anymore, bro. We're not in Philly anymore.
We needed
And-
this man when he first got signed by us and when he was there.
And
But-
Cam, is it Cam Johnson or Cameron Johnson? And Cameron
They call him
Johnson.
Cameron Johnson because we have Cam Payne. now.
Campaign. Yeah, Cameron Johnson has really
He'll
came
be a
out to
foul guy.
fruition. He'll definitely be another foul guy. But you can't afford to let Ayton get those fouls in the paint. You got to
No,
be able to
absolutely not.
You got to be able to get those on-court fouls. Don't let them get into a shooting motion. and just really block their offense and stop it up and keep them under 100 points and just go out there and win 119 to 102.
Well, the good part about the Clippers is that they don't have a big man. So if Ayton does get into trouble, Kaminsky's going to be fine.
And are they they're like an 80% free throw shooting team?
Yeah.
They're not hot at all.
But Kaminsky can handle any big man that the Clippers have. So not that I want Ayton to get into foul trouble, but if he ends up in foul trouble, they don't have any big men that are going to go out there and hurt us.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like the fact that they'll be able to do what they were doing on the Joker, as far as once they get pressed into the lane, they have people shooting off the wing. We'll be able to have Ayton.
Right
we'll
now it's
we'll be able to have Ayton shooting out and coming down through the paint instead of coming off of the wing to attack Kawhi Leonard, and that's going to be a fun ass matchup in the paint to see.
Yeah, it's hopefully obviously
swivel chair.
Yeah, right. It's I've just seen you going back and forth. Monty Williams is a smart man, and I think we're not going to let Kawhi around us with Mikal Bridges. He can stay in front of him, and if he wants to hit jump shots and he's able to hit jump shots, which he can, then that's fine. We'll try to hit more jump shots than he does, and we have a great scorer on our own side, so that's fine. But if he tries to come to the basket, Ayton will be helping every time. I don't know is Zubac their big guy? Like, is he their starting center? Because I'm not worried. I will let Ayton help off of Zubac all day long. I'm not scared of that whatsoever. So let him help. He can't help off of Rudy Gobert, but he doesn't have to because he can just man up Rudy Gobert and just cover the alley-oop and you're done. That's all Gobert has offensively, so I'm fine there.
Yeah, either way, I think it's going to be a fun matchup. It would definitely be more challenging trying to cover up Kawhi and PG, but that either way, I think the Suns are going to be able to figure it out with Monty and CP3 being able to slow down the game and bring it to where neither of those teams were really worried about pressing. We're not worried about the fast paced, them trying to take away possessions. The Suns will definitely be able to slow down the game against either one of those teams, and there's nobody on either one of those teams that's really going to be able to affect CP3, and that's really what they need to do. That's what we saw the big difference in that Nuggets. Like it would have maybe went 5-6 games with Jamal Murray the way the Suns were playing, but that was a huge difference in not having anybody be able to press against CP3, and neither one of them on their starting or backup roster is going to be able to do anything to affect CP3 in any way. I mean, maybe Reggie Jackson gets out there and tries to cause a ruckus and get another fucking little Band-Aid on his fucking eye for getting too aggressive. But other than that, I mean, not too worried about anybody affecting the offense and us being able to get 20 seconds out of every possession.
Yeah, I'm confident with the conference finals. I think the Jazz will win as well. And we'll obviously talk about the conference finals when they come, but I'm pretty confident as the Suns fan as well. But let's move over to the East, and while Sil takes a quick break, we'll start with Philly and the Hawks because that's the craziest thing. The Hawks don't match up well with anyone. We've talked about them as a young team. We've talked about how John Collins is going to do good, Kevin Huerter is going to do good. Obviously Trae Young is Trae Young, but we don't really match them up against the Nets and the 76ers and the Bucks and even like the Heat. And obviously they were the 5th seed behind the Knicks, but we don't match the Hawks up with any of those guys and say that they have a favorable advantage, but they have found a way to even this series at 2-2 against, I think it's pretty obvious to say that the better team is the 76ers, but the Hawks have found a way to be 2-2, and it's really Trae Young, and he wasn't scoring last game. He ended up with 18 assists. Are you impressed? I mean, obviously we're all impressed, but are you impressed with what Trae Young has been able to do in the playoffs, saying, listen, I'm not going to be the guy that tries to score 50, ends up shooting 4 for 20, and we lose by 50 points. He came out and got 18 assists when he found out he wasn't shooting very well.
Yeah, and what that team in Atlanta is able to do, it really makes you happy about the future of the NBA. We're going to be solid in John Collins and Trae Young.
Yeah.
That team really has nothing else outside of that, and everybody
Herter's
else
okay.
young
But
as fuck. Herter's okay. What they've been able to acquire in their vets, they don't really play at all. But that
Yeah.
team is young. They're fun to watch, and they're really, like you said, with Trae Young not going out there. Okay, I'm not able to shoot, and he does everything else. The way that team's able to just uh, transition on the fly and make changes and switch it up to where they're able to go up against the best defense in the league this year, and make it even. And really, whenever you look at Atlanta, all you think is they're able to shoot threes, and they're able to get a couple of second chance points in. And when you look at Philly, you're like, yep, none of that's going to be able to happen against
Right.
this team. So it's going to be a sweep. And we're sitting here at 2-2, and it's all to what they're able to do there. And I don't know the new coach there. There was a new coach that got there last year, I believe.
yeah,
And
I don't remember.
is
his
it
name.
Dwayne Casey actually?
I don't think so. Is it?
It's a recycled coach. I know that.
I thought it was the Bickerstaff, maybe. What's it?
No, we have Bickerstaff still.
Oh,
He was
really?
just on leave whenever I thought
Oh,
he got
that's
fucking
right.
fired.
Nate McMillan, the
Nate
Pacers
McMillan,
head coach.
yeah. I knew it
Yeah.
was another one of those recycled guys, but yeah, what they're able to do there is, it's awesome to see, and they have a bright future there. Neither of us thought this game, this series was going to be at a 2-2, and if they are able to get through, hey, shout out to them. But you just made it a lot easier on the Nets.
But are they able to get through? I mean, Embiid still is not 100%, and these are close games. I think the Hawks won by 2 or 3 last game at home. So
With Embiid
obviously,
hurt and
Ben Simmons can't shoot. Tobias Harris is not good. He is just robbing bank accounts right now. Is all he's doing.
Well, in the first round, he showed out. Like, he showed out.
He's
had
robbing
spurts
their
this
bank
year.
account is all he's doing.
Oh, for sure, definitely. We've thought this ever since he left Orlando and has been going and just stealing people's money in different cities. But yeah, absolutely. But absolutely, I said it. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy to see what the Hawks are able to do against this team. And nobody thinks Philly has any kind of offensive power. Nobody. Outside of Embiid,
Embiid, just
you're not really worried about them getting 130 on you,
right.
like you are every other team that's left in the playoffs right now. It's just what they're able to do on defense is insane. So the Hawks have been able to figure out a way to be able to just juggernaut them and be able to stop them, because there's not too much you can do as Philly outside of Embiid. And like we both said, he's not at 100%. He's missing really, really important minutes, having to go and get fucking stretching and ice packs and all this shit that he has to do. What he gets on his back like every single time out and shit.
Looks like Steve Nash over there. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, and this is what he came out doing after he got drafted. So to see this after he's had a couple of years of definitely being able to stay consistently in the games, this isn't a good sight. But you have to think that Philly will be able to overcome their offensive woes and be able to figure out a way to stop this Atlanta, because it's only a two-headed monster over there in Atlanta.
Right.
Really,
it really is.
So they'll figure it out a way. But Nate McMillan can also, he's a smart ass coach. We see now what he was able to do with PG and make him to the person he is. And
I mean, he has Clint Capella, he's been able to, the things he does to bad centers, not that Clint Capella is a bad center, but the way he can change bad centers into good centers is unbelievable.
Yeah, and he was another one, Clint Capella was, that everybody's feeling like he got snubbed on the All-NBA team this year.
He wasn't All-NBA, but
I don't feel like that either. But the fact that Rudy Gobert wasn't, if he would have been All-NBA too, then definitely I see Clint being able to fucking slide up. I'm so sick of names tonight. Being able to slide up there to the All-NBA third. But it didn't happen. But yeah, I agree. What he's able to do with these guys, fucking Roy Hibbert back in the day, a nobody. What was the other guy? The light-skinned dude.
Rick Smits? Oh no, that was way longer.
No.
I'm pulling out my age with that one.
Oh my gosh, I had it and I lost it. But anyways, he was a power forward. He shot a lot of threes. He got a lot of fucking second chance rebounds. Pass it out to PG. Damn it, I can't think of his name.
I don't know.
Now. He played for New Orleans too.
No, I feel you. I just said Rick Smits and I'm over it because that was like
right.
30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah, but yeah, what he's able to do with these people and be able to figure out what their power strengths are and just go to it. Like, John Collins shouldn't be where he's at right now.
Hey, John Collins is fucking good, but
dude, he's like 22 years old and he was nothing in college, really. I mean, he was, but he wasn't Trae Young. So for them to be able to come out and muster what they're able to do because of them two, and Jakob Herde able to come
Jakob
out
Pertl.
and able to do what he's doing, like yeah, that's a lot of shout out to McMillan. But
So
Philly's
what do you
gonna
got for the next
right?
3 games? Do you think they pull it out? I have, just for the record, I have 76ers finding that way,
Yeah,
getting
Philly's
through it,
gonna
like you
end up.
said.
Yeah, Philly's gonna figure it out. Nets are gonna be able to end Milwaukee, and then that's gonna be just a weird thing to see if Kyrie's out and he really did fuck his ankle up like we think he did, because that did not
Yeah, it
look
looked
good.
bad.
Uh,
We've both
and
had
we were
that
both
same
right.
injury before. We've seen
We were
that.
both right on the AD with this groin thing, and we've both have hamstrings, and we can only imagine that shit. So yeah, we both had this ankle injury, and it's going to be very hard for him to come back. Even 2 weeks out, he'll probably be at like what 75-80%,
Yeah.
and that's going to be game 6, game 7.
He'll be to where he can be a spot up shooter, but he won't be Kyrie at all.
Yeah,
He won't
he's
be
not
able
going to have
do
a bag
Kyrie.
at all. Yeah, he's not going to have a bag. I mean, he'll be able to hit that shot heard around the world like he did for the Cavs
Right.
back then. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I don't have millions of dollars to spend, and I don't have $1 billion organization taking care of me either.
Right.
But I mean, every time I fucked up my ankle, it was weeks before I was even able to feel comfortable running at half speed, let alone just
And then
walking.
cutting and doing all that other stuff, that's game over. But we'll talk about them, I think. So we both have Philly. Let's real quickly talk about the Nets, because the reason – what's up?
Remember?
I might
My
remember.
internet just shot.
I hope you
I'll
can
talk
get
about
there.
this.
No, I'm hearing you.
I'll remember. You're good. Keep going.
All right. You don't remember the story? Is that what just went down? The internet fucked up
This
your
sucks. This sucks.
memory?
Internet's breaking up like crazy.
It is.
I remember.
I can still hear you.
But we were so listen, we were both playing basketball when they were at Penn Hall on open court night, and we both messed up our ankles, and we were at Walmart, and we got the little 2 mile.
I messed up my ankle at Grace though that night before I went to Penile.
Oh, it was Grace.
And then you were making fun of me.
Then,
no, because I messed up my shit at Grace. And then we went to open gym after that, and you fucked up your shit at open gym while I was sitting on the sideline watching your ass.
Yeah, so then we go to Walmart to get ankle braces, and we're riding through, and somebody's like, "Oh, you think you guys could just ride around for fun?" My guy right here snapped, "Yeah, you think I want to go a half a mile an hour all the way throughout this big ass Walmart? No, get the fuck out of my face. Where the fuck are the braces?"
Yeah, right. We're literally trying to find ankle braces. That's the whole reason we have these dumbass wheelchairs in the first place, was to go find ankle braces at midnight or whenever the fuck. It was 11 p.m. is when
that shit was awesome.
And,
so yeah, we know firsthand them high ankles you're fucked.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Nets. The reason I saved it for last is because it's probably over. We saw game 5 tonight. The two heads of the 3-headed monster were not really there. Harden was there, but he shot like ass. I think he scored 5 points. He tried. He showed up. Props to him. I still hate the man, but he showed up and tried to help. All he did was hurt. KD came out, what was it, 49, 17, and 10 or something? 49, 15, and 10? I don't know. But ridiculous. This man played all 48 minutes. They were down 29-15 at the end of the first quarter. The only 2 people that scored in the first quarter were Kevin Durant and Jeff Green. And I thought, this is a wrap. I turned it off, turned it back on at the end of the third quarter because it was like a 6-point game, 8-point game, something like that. And then I got to continue to see Kevin Durant take over. It's still the Bucks. I don't want to throw too much shade on Giannis, but Kevin Durant, you hate Kevin Durant, I know this, but Kevin Durant is 30,000 times the clutch player that Giannis is. So when it's a close game in the clutch, they kept giving the ball to Durant. Bucks kept giving the ball to Giannis, and the gap just is miles apart. Because I love Giannis. I love Durant too. You don't, but I love both of them. But it's not even a fair matchup to put those 2 guys and say which one's better in the clutch. It would be like us playing against a 5-year-old. It's really not even fair. Giannis is not there yet, and Durant showed it tonight.
I mean, and they tried to give it to Chris Middleton a lot, and he just wasn't able to produce. I mean, he still went 8 for 22, which isn't too bad. I think that's what, like 38-40%.
Yeah.
But he's got to do better. With James Harden injured, with Kyrie injured, he has to come out and do better. Brook Lopez has to come out and be more efficient on the offensive end and be more of a staple to that offense. But yeah, like you said, if it gets down to just Giannis and KD, the Nets are going to run away with this game 4, and it's not even going to be a game like it was tonight.
Yeah.
If the Nets are able to go to that right off rip and just say, hey, KD, go out and get 15 in the first quarter, it's not going to be, because the first half was all Milwaukee because the Brooklyn offense was stagnant because they were trying to go and be a team. Fuck that. KD,
give it to
you're the
boy.
team.
Yeah.
You're the team. Get 15 in the first quarter. Let us come out up 30 to fucking 25, and we'll just ride out with this shit, and it's not even going to be a game.
Yeah, they tried to let Joe Harris hit threes, and for the first time in his life, he could not hit the broadside of a barn. I think he was like 1 for 6 at halftime, and Steve Nash came up to him and said, "You're not shooting anymore. You're done, buddy. Sorry." So, which is crazy because Joe Harris is the white boy's pride. He hits everything. So when he was missing, it was bad. But I don't mean to be rude to Brooklyn and save them till the end. They're worthy of being talked about, but this isn't the round they're supposed to be talked about. And the fact that they won Game 5 in the fashion that they did, do you think the Bucks have any chance, or should we?
No, it's a wrap. It should have been a wrap for a while.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And like you said, Durant might come out and drop 50, and nobody else even hit double digits next game, and it's just over. And that's how we do. So let's move on, and let's end the night by talking about the All NBA teams. Just a rundown real quick. First team was Steph, Luka, Giannis, Kawhi, and Nikola Jokic. The second team was Chris Paul, which I was actually surprised about. We can talk about that in a second. Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Julius Randle, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. And then the third team was Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal. I don't even want to say this team. Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Rudy Gobert. I couldn't get through it without laughing. Let's talk about these All NBAs. First team first. First team was right? I mean, everybody on the first team deserved it. Everybody did their thing. Who do you think got left off the first team, maybe, if anyone?
Nobody.
Yeah, that first team was right.
Yeah, with the injuries and stuff this year. Yeah, no. The first team was right. Second team was pretty much right. With Rudy Gobert getting Defensive Player of the Year, you would think maybe he would jump up there.
Yeah, but Embiid was the MVP just with injuries. And then Jokic was the MVP that actually got MVP, so the centers were pretty much taken. What do you think about Chris Paul? You were happy with that second spot? Because when you're looking at the third team, only Bradley Beal could have jumped him, right? Like Irving wasn't worth it. Yeah. And they kind of took a point guard, even though they only had to take 2 guards. They took Chris Paul as the point guard. I'm happy, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really too mad about any of it. I mean, the third team is just pretty much made up of people who suck, but they still
had a couple of fun games and has name recognition.
Yeah, so I'm not really too mad about any of it. There's really not too many slights. All these guys are young right now. LeBron, did he really deserve it too much? He showed what he wasn't able to do with AD, but also he still shows night in and night out that he's able to make the clutch buckets like he did to extend their series. Like he's able to do all the time, just be able to, like we talked about with that Djokovic match. Right. He's able to find that LeBron switch that only LeBron has. And just that fact alone gets him into the All-NBA team, which gave him a record 17 out of 18 seasons as an All-NBA team player. But yeah, I don't really see too much slide of it. It just, a lot of these are just players with relevance, man. Once you get down to the nitty gritty, CP3 could have been an All-NBA team first ballot, but it's just all about the name, dude.
But Luka,
the voting nowadays is just such a political and namesake, it's not even funny.
Well, it's tough because to bring up the two names that you mentioned, Chris Paul was not going to jump Steph Curry and Luka. That just wasn't going to happen. But the surprising points is not the 15 people that made it. It's the places that they made it. Steph Curry got 98 first place votes. And I love Steph Curry. I think he's great. Luka only got 55 first place votes. And so those two are the guards, obviously. Luka should have been flipped. Luka had the 98. Steph had the 55, in my opinion. Yeah. And that's where it kind of roughs up. You see LeBron James, obviously he's LeBron James. He does LeBron James things. He kind of got lucked out by being in the second team, and I don't want to give him any slight. He's LeBron, like you said, you mentioned it. But the people that he beat out were Jimmy Butler and Paul George for the forward spot. So it's not really a huge deal. Jimmy Butler actually got more first place votes than LeBron, but Jimmy Butler's not better than LeBron. Like, that's the only other guy that could have maybe made it is what, Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum was the only other good forward, unless you count Zion just being Zion. But I don't think that that's a thing. Like, so LeBron almost gets gifted these free first and second teams because the forward spot is so just weak.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, and Jason would have been the only other person to give it to with the forwards. So a lot of people felt like he got slighted, but I don't really feel like that at all. Steph Curry, he had an amazing run when he was in there. Excuse me, showed that he really was a MVP contender. So they felt like they had to give him some kind of credit for the season that he had, right. Which everybody should tip the cap to Steph for what he was able to remind people what he's known for, and that's just fucking Splash Mountain.
Absolutely. So Devin Booker got some votes. So I'm happy about that. That's really all I care about. Devin Booker got some votes. But yeah, so you don't think there's any snubs? I mean, obviously the main culprits, at least, are snubs. Are always guards, and we have Russell Westbrook and Donovan Mitchell. Are those really the only two that? Is Trae Young in there at all? Like, as a possible snub? But forwards and centers, I don't see anybody else. Maybe Bam Adebayo that could even be talked about.
Yeah, Bam, for real, he definitely feels like he's snubbed. Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum. Not really too many other people can really have any kind of argument in that. I don't think they got it wrong. It's not really hard to do, but in today's day and age, to where all these big names are fading and having injuries and not able to do complete seasons. Yeah. You have these young bucks coming out. Ja Morant even could have a say in being slighted in any kind of way. But the fact that CP3 was able to put the season he had and put the Suns in the position they're at, then he really can't have too much of a say when he's sitting and
watching on his
what
couch.
What is it? Cancun. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. Sitting in Cancun watching.
He's gone fishing, right, as Kenny would say.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it got wrong. You could always put them in any order, but it's just a weird time in the NBA right now, dude. And it all just comes down to a fun team and a fucking super team over there in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's true. And I think I love Donovan Mitchell. I've said it before, but I don't think he has a slight. The only guy I think has a slight just because of the end of the season was Russell Westbrook. He got his team into the playoffs, essentially. Bradley Beal was the MVP or scoring title candidate for a long time. But it wasn't until Russell Westbrook started playing like Russell Westbrook that they made a real push. But he would have had to pass Kyrie, I think, was the lowest vote getter. And who knows? Russell Westbrook against Kyrie was a toss-up, but Brooklyn was the second seed, so they're going to get it. So I think I'm agreeing with you. Everything was pretty much normal, and I love seeing LeBron not get first team. He didn't deserve it. I don't think, and I'm pretty safe to say he didn't deserve it, because the guys that got it was Kawhi and Giannis. So it's exciting that he doesn't deserve it anymore. He's finally getting old. All right, but let's get out of here. We'll talk about the conference finals next week, when they might be established. Actually, they're guaranteed to be established next week. So let's get out of here. What sort of shout out do you want to give for the final? Because I have to pee really bad.
Just a reminder, man, it's June 16th, which means Garrett just got his little badge to check in to Tracktown. And
Yes,
we're getting
sir.
ready to go into these
I've been
prelims.
watching and I have not seen anything come
Yeah,
up yet.
it's track
So,
and field time's coming. We've had swimming show up a
saw
little
some
bit.
hurdles.
But
Yeah, that's the only
so,
track I've seen.
It's getting time to represent America, man. So shout out to all these competitors coming out trying to represent America and their individual sports. Summer's always weird and fun, and so I'm down for it, man. And I really do want to give a shout out to Garrett. May God be with him. He was so close last time, and there's no reason he shouldn't be able to get it done. He's a fucking freak athlete, a sick person, and nobody else deserves it more than him and his family.
Awesome, man. Yeah, shout out to everyone that's competing for the Olympics. Shout out to you, but because we're Americans, big ups to the American athletes trying to represent our country. This has been their dream their entire life, and I've had dreams. I've had dreams I've met. I've had dreams I've not met. So these guys are so close, and I hope they get it. Guys and girls, sorry, are so close. I hope they get it. But we've said it many times in the past. This has kind of been our theme for the last like 2 or 3 months. Chase your dreams, follow your dreams, don't give up on them, and do what you can to make those dreams happen no matter what they are. And as always, be a stud, not a scrub.